In the heart of the endless desert, where the sun beats down with a merciless fire, a legend is etched into the very grains of sand. This is the domain of the golden scorpion, a colossal titan whose carapace shines like 1,000 suns, a king whose every step shapes the dunes. For eons, it has ruled this vast, silent kingdom, its authority absolute, its presence a guarantee of the desert's harsh, unchanging order. The winds whisper its name, and the creatures of the sand bow to its might. It is the undisputed sovereign of this golden sea. But one night, a change came upon the land. The familiar silence was shattered. The stars, usually so clear and bright in the desert sky, seemed to tremble. A deep, resonant hum vibrated up from the earth, a feeling that started in the solace of your feet and traveled right into your bones. The sand itself began to stir, not by the wind, but by something far more ancient, something awakening from a slumber that had lasted millennia. The golden scorpion, ever vigilant, felt this disturbance. It raised its mighty claws, its multifaceted eyes scanning the horizon, sensing a challenge to its throne. The ground began to heave and swell, dunes the size of hills collapsed and reformed, as if the desert itself were breathing. Then, with a deafening roar that tore through the night, the sand erupted. A colossal form burst forth, a serpent not of flesh and blood, but of sand, rock, and ancient fury. This was the Sand Leviathan, a creature whose length was measured in miles, a serpent the size of a mountain range. Its scales were plates of obsidian and granite, and its eyes burned with the cold light of long-dead stars. It had been sleeping, waiting, and now it had come to claim the desert for itself. The Scorpion King did not flinch. It met the Leviathan's challenge with a defiant click of its pincers, a sound that echoed like cracking thunder. Raising its tail high, the stinger at its tip began to glow, crackling with raw, untamed power. Lightning, born not from the sky but from the scorpion's own venomous might, arced from the stinger, illuminating the chaotic scene. The air grew thick with ozone and the smell of superheated sand. This was not just a battle, it was a clash of titans, a war for the soul of the desert. The Leviathan moved first, a tsunami of sand and stone. It lunged, its cavernous mouth opening wide enough to swallow a city, intending to consume the scorpion whole. But the scorpion was too fast, too agile for its size. It sidestepped the monstrous attack, its 8 legs digging into the sand, anchoring it against the shockwave. In return, it unleashed a torrent of energy. Bolts of pure lightning shot from its stinger, striking the Leviathan's body and creating explosive flashes of light against its dark scales. Their battle raged across the desert, a maelstrom of elemental fury. The scorpion was a blur of gold and lightning, dancing around the serpent's gargantuan coils. The Leviathan was a force of nature, summoning localized sandstorms that swirled with gale-force winds and blinding dust. It slammed its body against the dunes, attempting to crush the scorpion, but each time, the Golden Titan would either evade or meet the blow with its nigh-impenetrable armor. The desert, their arena, was forever changed by their conflict. Where the scorpion's lightning struck the ground, the sand instantly melted and cooled, creating vast, shimmering plains of fulgurite glass. These fields of lightning glass reflected the starlight, turning patches of the desert into a strange, glittering mirror world. Where the Leviathan's immense heat and friction passed, the air itself warped and shimmered, giving birth to fiery mirages, illusions of burning lakes and inverted mountains that flickered on the horizon, ghostly monuments to their epic struggle. The very landscape was being reforged in the crucible of their war. For hours, they fought. The scorpion's energy began to wane, its lightning strikes becoming less frequent. The Leviathan, though wounded and scarred, was relentless. It saw its opportunity and coiled its massive body, trapping the scorpion in a tightening prison of rock and sand. The pressure was immense, enough to grind mountains to dust. The golden carapace of the scorpion began to groan and crack under the strain. For a moment, it seemed the king of the dunes had finally met its end. But a king does not surrender its throne so easily. Trapped and facing oblivion, the golden scorpion gathered all its remaining strength, focusing every last ounce of its power into one final, desperate act. It ignored the crushing pressure on its body and aimed its stinger, not at the Leviathan's impenetrable hide, but at its head, at the single burning eye that stared down with cold malice. The stinger glowed with an intensity that outshone the moon and stars, a focused, white-hot point of pure, annihilating energy. With a final, defiant shriek, the scorpion lunged. The stinger shot forward like a spear thrown by a god, piercing the storm of dust and sand. It struck true. The needle's sharp point plunged deep into the Leviathan's massive eye. There was no sound, only a blinding flash of white light that consumed the entire desert. The Leviathan convulsed in agony, its monumental form thrashing wildly. Its ancient power, its very life force, was extinguished in that single, perfect strike. The great serpent went limp, its colossal body, no longer held together by ancient magic, began to crumble. It dissolved back into the elements from which it came: sand, rock, and dust. A mountain range of a creature simply flowed back into the earth, sinking beneath the dunes it had sought to conquer. The ground trembled one last time as the last of the Leviathan was swallowed by the desert, sealed beneath the sands for eternity, its prison and its grave. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, a new desert was revealed. The silence had returned, but it was a different silence, one filled with reverence. The dunes were scarred and changed, but they were peaceful. And everywhere, as far as the eye could see, the ground glittered. Shards of lightning glass, the beautiful, dangerous remnants of the battle, caught the morning sun, scattering its light into a million tiny rainbows. It was the mark of the scorpion's victory, a testament to the night the king defended its throne. And on the highest dune, the golden scorpion stood, wounded but unbroken, forever the ruler of its glittering, silent kingdom. Thank you so much for joining me on this epic tale. If you enjoyed this journey into myth and legend, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more stories like this. We'd love to have you in our community. Until next time, stay curious.